So I'm going to talk about innovating your small business today. And so this is, of course, a word cloud, not very innovative because innovation is hard. So when I say the word innovation, what are some of the things, what are the words that come to your mind? I want you to shout them out to me. New. Unique. Brainstorming. Outstanding. Better. Collisions. I like that. Well, you know, there's a lot of different definitions for innovation because there's a lot of different interpretations for innovation. Innovation can happen in markets, it can happen in business, it can happen in processes and products, but innovation is really hard. So as Kevin mentioned, my job, I work for the Mars Discovery District. Has anybody ever heard of Mars? Besides the planet, it's a pretty cool place. The best, of course, one of the best jobs ever is that everyone gets into a cab in Toronto and they're like, take me to Mars, and everyone loves that. So these are some of the companies that we work with at Mars. Now, our focus is very specifically high-tech, high-growth potential companies. So we work in 4 different fields. We focus in on 4 different fields. We focus in on life sciences and healthcare, clean technology, information technology, communications, entertainment, and social innovation. So these are very specific pillars of innovation that we focus in on. So the pictures up here give you an idea of kind of the companies that we're working with, and I'll just give you an example. So up at the top right is Exogenic, and they are working on doing early cancer detection with a cheek swab. Yeah, wow. These are the stories I get to tell. This is why I love my job. You look at HydroStore, and they're looking at storage for renewable energy. Then you've got Revelo Lifebike, who just a couple of days ago launched their IndieGoGo campaign. They have an electric bike that can save you literally thousands of dollars and hours a month in time. And then you have a company like Interaxon, and we're going to be working with Interaxon at the Idea City next month, and they have a thought-controlled headband. So that thought-controlled headband allows you to manage things like games on your iPad or those little round toys that can spin around a room. They're also working on doing a thought-controlled beer tap. Yeah, we're really excited about that, right? Super cool. So a lot of fun implications, but then of course you think about perhaps the healthcare implications for that, right? You look at people who have mobility issues, who are affected with ALS, or who are quadriplegic or paraplegic, right? These are kind of the big, huge impact stories that we get to tell at Mars. So you've got hardware solutions, you've got really disruptive innovations coming, and these are startups that are in a fairly unique place. And this is a lot of work, many, many years. None of these are overnight successes, right? But that doesn't necessarily speak to perhaps what small business owners are facing and what they're trying to do and innovating in their own space. So how many here, I just want to take a poll in the room a little bit, how many here are retailers? I got some retailers. So consultants or professional services, lots, right? So how is it that you can take innovation into your own business? So I'm going to share a story because I think it's really important to note that product innovation can be exceptionally hard, but you can innovate your own business. So let me tell you a story, and hopefully you'll understand what I mean. So this is one of my good friends. Her name's Ann Campion, and she's at Revel Cafe. On Twitter, she's Revel Cafe with the 2 Fs. And if I was going to tell you that in Ann's first year of business, taking over ownership of an existing cafe in Stratford, which is one of the best spaces in Stratford, you can attest to that, Kevin, can't you? She grew her business 200% in her first year. Good story, right? Great story. Her core product being coffee, which is locally sourced from Las Chicas, which is out of London, Ontario, grew 136% in that first year. Another great part of a great story, right? Really successful. You think, that's an awesome businesswoman doing awesome work in her town. So what if I told you that she went to a bank because she was growing out of her space? Her space was too narrow. She was doing amazing things in there, but she couldn't get a $20,000 leasehold improvement loan unless her husband co-signed. I'm not talking 1954, folks. I'm talking a year ago, right? Appalling, insulting, archaic, I'd say so. So Anne is what we would call a force of nature. God love her. So what Anne did was she talked to her community. She turned specifically to her community of resources and knowledge. And she said, what can I do to fix this problem? She'd already gone to family and friends for support. But then she realized that if she was going to actually make her business a success, she was going to have to think differently and innovate about her own business. So what she did was she talked to another force of nature known in the Stratford area. I'm from Stratford, I live in Stratford, and of Ruth Clausen, who's up on the right-hand side there. And she is a former chef who started a company called Monfort A Dairy. Monfort does beautiful artisanal cheeses and charcuteries and everything else. And do you know how much it costs to actually open up a dairy in Ontario? Any guesses? $1 million. Costs about $1 million. So how can an artisanal producer who has a relationship with her cows where she walks to the farmer's field and she can pat them on the head and they will fall over and roll over so she can rub their belly? How does that kind of a producer generate $1 million to build a dairy that follows all the regulations so she can produce what she wants to produce and be a part of her local economy? So what she learned from Ruth was this model of community-supported agriculture, so CSA. CSA started in about the 80s, started in Europe and in the US. And so what Anne and Ruth both did for their businesses is they created, Ruth created a community-supported agriculture model, and Anne flipped that a little bit, and she created a community-supported beans model. And what it essentially is that she turned to her community. She turned to these people who love her space, love what she's doing, love what she's producing, love how she's sourcing her content, love how she's supporting local producers, loves the ecosystem that they're creating. And they said to people, help me maintain my business. Help me let my business grow. So in Ruth's case, what she did is she sold shares in her future business, and same with Anne. So for different price points, you buy into their future business up for the next 5 years. So I'm a subscriber to the Monfort plan. I'm also a subscriber to the Beans plan for Revel. And what that means is for my small contribution of $250 up front, I get a certain number of bags of beans throughout each year, every year for 5 years. Because I have faith in their ability to produce that amazing business, and I want to be a part of their success, and I want to be a part of investing in them, but still getting my own trade back. So I love to tell this story because I think it's such an important way of looking at business that you really have to flip things. You know, she wasn't able to go to a bank and get the loan, Anne, that she really needed to build her business. So what she did was she went to her community. 14 days later, she had broken the barrier of what she was hoping to accomplish. $20,000 easily broken. She has she's renovated an entire brown space that used to exist in the heart of downtown Stratford, right in Market Square. So she completely took over a brown space that had been abandoned for over 10 years. The space is absolutely spectacular. And now she's doing, I'll go back for 1 second. Now she's doing big dinners, big presentations. She has concerts there. She has talks there. We do social media breakfast Stratford there every first Friday of the month. And it's because she has opened up and shared her soul space with all of us. So this community-supported agriculture is kind of a tangent to the crowdfunding conversation as well. So I appreciated Mitch's conversation regarding Kickstarter. So I've noted the other two kind of predominant players in the crowdfunding place, which are RocketHub and IndieGoGo, because unless you're an American company or you have an American bank account, you can only play with Kickstarter there. So RocketHub and IndieGoGo specifically support Canadian businesses. Right? So if you've got an idea and you want to produce and create something, you can go to these two platforms and you can build on that as well. But it also shows a lot of the innovation that comes from these players as well, because RocketHub has just signed on and has now a television series agreement with A&E. So they have an opportunity to take the really cool stories that are coming out of their space and highlight those startups and those entrepreneurs on a global scale. Right? So there's more innovation happening. You'd think that a funding platform has its own kind of limitations. Apparently not to the RocketHub team. So Fundable is not yet available in Canada, but I wanted to mention it because it will be soon. So Fundable allows small business owners to offer people in their community an opportunity to invest in their business from either an equity perspective or a trade perspective. So you either get rewards like the Beans program, or you get a percentage of that business as that business grows. Right, so they're out of Ohio and California, and they're just kind of building and growing their own audience. And when I got in touch with the team, they let me know that they're not ready yet for the Canadian market, but they would be. They're looking at us. There's other players who are also talking about crowdfunding in Ontario and in Canada, all told. So this is something that, as startups and small business owners, you should be paying attention to, because these are opportunities for you to look at your business differently and engage with your community in a completely relationship-based way, as Mitch was saying, and also do those real relationship building, as Dave was saying as well. So Mars is part of the Ontario Network of Entrepreneurs. We are what we call a RIC, a Regional Innovation Centre. But recently, it used to be the Ontario Network of Excellence, and now the Ontario Network of Entrepreneurs exists. So this is where we actually collaborate and work with all of these development centres right across the province. And what we do is we provide everybody information about how to start your business, grow your business, and finance your business. My favorite hashtag is when we all win, we all win. We're not in competition. You know, we're not competing against Enterprise Brand. We're not competing against Communitech or It Begins With If or any of the other centers there in Southwestern Ontario. When you're all funded, when you're all building, when you're all growing, our economy is doing great. Coming from a non-capitalist, by the way. But these are opportunities for you to connect to resources and intelligence and mentors and advice that you may not know what you don't know. So I specifically wanted to highlight some of the resources that are available for you from a financing perspective that are now available on this website. So you can have access to tax incentive program guides and the like. It just depends on what you're looking for, right? And these centers, whether it's the Mars Discovery District in Toronto or whether it begins with IF, it doesn't matter, Enterprise Brand, which is a community futures group, all of these guys will be able to point you in the right direction to give you the resources that you need. So specifically at Mars, we also have the Entrepreneur's Toolkit. The Entrepreneur's Toolkit is an amazing program. So there's Entrepreneurship 101, which is a weekly program that you can attend either live at Mars or web stream live. If you attend more than 60% of the program, you get an opportunity to pitch your business. If you've got a new business, a startup idea, you get to pitch your business at the end of the year at our Upstart competition. And just last week, we had our winner, and they walked away with $10,000, as well as with opportunity to network with mentors and advisors within the Mars ecosystem. So these are the kind of opportunities that are out there for you. If you don't ask, you don't get. Jump at them, take them, investigate them. Engage, come to at least one class, involve yourself in at least one class and see what's out there. We have workbooks available. RocketHub, the CEO of RocketHub, Brian Meese, was recently visited Mars, and we have his entire session available online on video. We also have small hot tips sections. So if you're just looking for information on specific segments of how to build your business or grow your business, we have those opportunities there for you as well. So there's a ton of resources that are on the onebusiness.ca site, they're on the Mars site, workbooks. If you're looking at definitions of things, like what's bootstrapping? You know, if you're not really kind of in the startup ecosystem per se, you may not understand what bootstrapping is, but it's kind of like what it says it is, which is building your business and growing your business without really any external help. All those kinds of definitions, all that information is available for you guys. We also have a funding directory. So thousands of listings from both Canada, Ontario, and global resources that are available for you to find funding for your business, whether they're grants, or they are tax incentive programs, whatnot. You have no idea how much money is actually out there until you start investigating it, right? So the options are there for you, and we're just one of the resources and one of the sources for that information. There's also paid services out there, so it's a little bit of a caveat. The funding portal is great. They give you a snapshot of who's getting funded in the province every single week. So you understand if manufacturing is growing, you understand if ICT is growing, you'll look at retail if it's growing. You'll get to see which kind of resources and which kind of industry verticals are getting that kind of funding. And that funding, that knowledge is power for you, right? Then you know how to go after that funding that's available for people. Now, they also do have a paid services section, which is great, because you have to look at, especially small business owners. The story I like to tell about this is when my husband wanted to save the $800 it was going to cost us to get our garage and our front steps painted. He's like, I'll do it myself. And I said, no, you will not, because I want to see you this summer. Was it worth our $800 so that I could spend the summer with my husband instead of having every single weekend with him working on this garage because he wouldn't be able to do it all in one shot? Absolutely. So keep that story in mind when you're looking at services that you should be paying for, right? That sometimes it's worth it to pay somebody else to help you build that part of your business or to take over that part of your service because they're the expert, they have the knowledge. You can do it yourself poorly, or you can hire somebody who actually has the expertise to do it well, right? Save yourself the time and effort, right? What's the value of your hours learning how to navigate this world? So, breathe. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of overload. There's a lot of outlets for you. But the truth is, especially in Ontario, you are so well supported as business owners. You have the resources out there. There are people, entire organizations like ours that are there to build with you and grow with you and see you succeed. So I wish you well. If you're looking for me, I'm Karen SD. Karen SD at Gmail, Karen SD at Mars, Karen SD online, and I wish you well. Thanks.